So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where I am joined by Emily and Freya. So Neil doesn't look a little bit different today. He is somebody different in the hot seat today. Thank you so much for joining me. We're just going to go through a preview of the WSL season for Aston Villa. And thanks so much for joining us. As I said, Emily, would you like to start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. It's my second year as a season ticket holder for the women's team. I don't actually hail from Birmingham. I'm based in Bedford, so it's a little bit of a trek, but worth it to come and support the team.
Great stuff. Not as much of a trek as I have when I have to go and watch.
Very true.
Team, but yeah, I totally get that. And there's actually a great supporters club in Bedford, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a couple of others sort of interact with online that from the same area. So
great stuff. Thanks very much for joining us. And Freya, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. Yeah,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, go on then. Well, I do a bit of everything. As you can probably tell again from the accent, I'm not from Birmingham originally, but I did go there for university and kind of hung about for about 6, 7, 8 years. So I kind of got collected up by Villa, and yeah, they're my second team. But doesn't mean I love them any less. But yeah, they're kind of my adopted team, shall I say, rather than second team. But yeah, I've got really good fondness for them, and yeah, we've been doing a podcast, the whole 115 yards, for nearly 3 seasons now, all about Villa women, and we've got something very exciting lined up in the near future as well. So yeah, can't wait. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. I suppose we may as well start at the top, and I suppose the big news is that we have a new manager in situ. And I suppose it would be wrong of us not to thank Carla Ward for all her hard work over the last few years. She's been absolutely brilliant. We've been great since coming back to play in the what is the top division of the WSL. And yeah, so we have a new manager and Robert DePau. And what do you know about him?
I'll let you go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, so kind of when he was first announced, we all kind of went, okay, not a name we were expecting. There were some other names, I'll forget a name now, but the Icelandic coach, she was rumoured to be coming in, and some other big names. Maybe we thought Melissa Phillips as well, who'd left Brighton. We thought maybe she could be someone to come in. Yeah, so Robert DePau was never really on our radar, but then we did a bit more digging and kind of his background, and he seems to really know what he wants. And we've seen that from pre-season as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, he's very direct. He's very, lots of instructions all the time on the pitch. And you can tell that he really wants the best for the side. And I think after everything that Carla did for us, and we're so grateful to everything she did, it feels like there's a real shift with the club this season. And it feels like this is the one where they're going to really be pushing to be competing in those top few spots, rather than being seen by a lot of other clubs as like, oh, it's just Aston Villa, or they're just like, middle of the league. And this time it really feels like they're gonna compete.
Yeah, I think we all really hope that is the situation. What did you think, Emily, when you heard it? It really was a bolt from the blue, and I don't think anybody expected it, really.
Yeah, like Freya said, I hadn't actually heard of him before. And then you look at, he's got, pretty good record. He's coached in the Dutch leagues, and then obviously with Bayer Leverkusen last season, and has had success with them. So he's got the background coming in to push on, which I think, like you said, we've had a a few good seasons since we've been back in the top division, and I think now's the opportunity to sort of kick on and, like Freya said, push for being solidly in the top half rather than mid-league. But he's saying all the good things in his sort of signing interview and things. He's saying, wants to use the youth players and get them to a level where they can all play for their national teams and things like that, which is I think we need to use our academy more and keep them at Villa. There's a habit of sort of playing them, developing them, and then going out on loan and never seeing them again. So I'm hoping that he's keen to develop the youth players and keep them in the squad.
Yeah, I think that's the hope. We've seen a few academy players leave over the last couple of years, and it's been pretty sad to watch when that does happen. But speaking of people leaving, Freya, we've had a couple of high-profile departures this summer too.
Yeah, we have. Looking at who we've lost, we've lost Simone McGill to Birmingham City, local rivals. But I'm just glad she stayed in the Midlands, to be honest, and hopefully she'll get a good run of games. The big names, Alicia Lehmann, Daphne van Domselaar, they were the two that really, it seemed like everyone outside of Villa were making a really big deal of, whereas people within the club, and I know me and Emily and the rest of the fan club have talked about it, Alicia was very inconsistent. I think, especially last season, very inconsistent. So yeah, she popped up with a couple of goals and it was great, but there were some times where you just wanted more from her. So the fact that she went to Juventus, and actually she's having a cracking time over at Juventus, she's starting, she's really getting in. So with all of the kind of media circus that was around Alicia leaving, actually it's worked out the best, and we've got Katie Robinson coming in on that right hand side to replace her. So we've done quite well, to be honest. But with Daphne as well, she didn't hide that, she always wanted to move on to another club to win the trophies. She was very honest and open about that. So she never really settled with us. So the fact that she did leave, everyone kind of went, okay. Like it was no love lost, to be honest. And again, she seems really happy at Arsenal, and we've got a fantastic goalie in return in Sabs as well. So yeah, I think, and again, Emily can talk about it as well, but we've really strengthened this window, which has been fantastic to see. So yes, we've lost, and again with Liv McLaughlin as well, a fantastic young player. I really wish we hadn't let her go, but she's getting the opportunity to go for trophies in Scotland as well. So yeah, as much as we've lost a couple of names, I think we've come out on the right end with the ones we've managed to bring in.
Yeah, I reckon overall we've probably strengthened rather than, I don't think the losses that we've had haven't we've filled those holes and more.
I think with the loss of Daphne, it doesn't seem like a big loss because she missed so many games as well through injury last year. So while it is a pity that to lose a goalkeeper of that quality, as you correctly say, I think everybody believed that her heart wasn't in it. But wouldn't it be great for us to turn the tables and get ourselves into those championship positions?
Be fantastic, yeah.
It would be great. And you mentioned Alicia, who, I totally agree. She was quite inconsistent last year. While she offers so much for the marketing team, it didn't have the same effect on the pitch.
But they didn't use her though. They didn't use her to her full potential at all. Whereas all of Juventus's social media for their pre-season campaign, she was in every video. Yeah. Like their followers just went mad after she went. And, she's very much aware that she is a brand and that people do follow her and follow the team for that reason. So yeah, I think Villa missed out a little bit on on that one, but never mind.
Yeah, Emily, we mentioned there that Sabrina D'Angelo will come in and replace, obviously, Daphne van Domselaar, and we would imagine she's probably going to be first choice, while we do have some very capable goalkeepers as well. Do you think that she will be a starter, or do you see one of the others getting in before her?
I think before she arrived, I personally was hoping that Anna Lee was going to get the starting position. I think unfortunately the decision might have sort of been taken out of their hands almost, because we haven't seen Annalise in pre-season, so we're not sure if she's got a bit of a knock. So I think we're probably going to see, at least for the first couple of games, Sab's start. But whether that's indicated, whether that will be the same going forward, I'm not sure. But I think both are equally capable. I think we saw when Van Domselaar was injured at the end of last season that Annalise was perfectly capable of stepping up and taking the number 1 jersey. So I'm happy with all three, to be honest. Sophia Poor as well. When she had to come in at the back end of last season, played really well.
Still very
so
young as well as the goalkeeper. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we've got good depth there for whatever happens.
Freya, of the outfield players we've brought in, who are you most excited to see come in the door and look forward to see them in the flesh when the season kicks off on Friday?
You know what's really exciting about that question? I have more than one. I'm actually excited to see all of them. I mean, I've been able to see one pre-season game, and I know Emily's been to a couple as well, but we've talked about it from everyone we brought in. Paula Tomas has been phenomenal. Such a strength. Meant to be a defender, but she's been midfield. She's been up the wings and all sorts. So really excited to see her. Really excited that Mary Taylor's here with us permanently as well. And them two teaming up with Kate Robinson, we've been able to see some really exciting relationships form on the pitch already. And of course, we've got Missy Ball, we've got Chastity Grant, all of these names that you wouldn't necessarily have as like household names unless you know a bit more about football. But the quality that Robert DePauw's been able to bring in, and again, fly under the radar a bit with who he's brought in, is really exciting. So yeah, all of them, please. If they could all just play on Friday, that'd be great.
And the one you didn't mention, Freya, was Gabby Nunes da Silva, who arrived on transfer deadline day the other day. Emily, do you know anything about her?
I think Freya's got some stats probably, but yeah, I'm excited to see her play. I'm excited to see how she might fit into the new managers. Played 2 up top a couple of times in pre-season, so I'm excited to see if that's a system he's going to go with, because Nunes and Daly up front would be something to see.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Chastity Grant as well, which is a huge signing to come in from Ajax. Still relatively young at 23, Netherlands international as well. And we haven't even mentioned. I'm going to probably butcher her name as well. Jim Byings, is that how you pronounce it?
Byings, yeah.
Oh, I did okay. Not too bad. Yeah, who also arrived from Bayern Munich. So there's huge talent after coming through the doors and gone relatively under the radar because there's so much happening with our men's team that this has just really flown below the radar. Do you realistically think that this is enough for us to make a push into that top 4?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we all said, didn't we? You go, Emily.
No, I was just going to say, I think for the first time, probably we've got, you've got enough players to have 2 starting 11s like that you could conceivably put out, and they would put up a match against any of the teams in the league. So it's nice to have options, and it's something we've struggled with in the past couple of seasons towards the end, especially where you get to the back half of the season and the bench is non-existent. So I'm hoping that now that we've got a full squad that are all quality players, we can be competitive.
I don't think there's any doubt that this is going to be an exciting season for us all. I'm just going to have a look at the 4-6 fixtures there. Freya, if you want to talk us through them.
Yeah, so Chelsea, Tottenham, Palace, Brighton, City, Liverpool. It's obviously, we were talking about the other night, would we have wanted Chelsea as first game, especially away as well? However, our away record is much better than the home record. So actually, this one is almost not a free shot, but no one's expecting us to win. So why not kind of go out all guns blazing and kind of set up our stall for the season and say, you know, this is it. This is Villa this season. This is what we're going to do. The others, I think, you know, we can have a really decent shot at. I mean, Spurs have strengthened, so that'll be a real test. Palace as well. No one, you know, should discount them, how they've strengthened this season. So I think it'll be a good test, all six. And like Emily said, we've actually got the depth now that we can change, we can rotate. And DePau seems like the type of manager that if it's not working, he'll go, right, let's do it and change it up. Yeah. So yeah, it's an exciting first six. And it can't get any worse than when we were at Christmas last season. So
yeah, myself and Emily just spoke just before the podcast there about those first five fixtures, Emily, and it was a pretty depressing run that we had to go on. Obviously, Man U, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, and Chelsea, I think, were the first five, and we ended up losing the first five last year. So, what the optimism dropped very quickly last year. But what do you think of these fixtures? Do you think they're fair enough? And where do you think we can pick up points there?
Yeah, I think Chelsea. It's hard to see past Chelsea on the opening day, but like Freya said, if even if you only come away with a draw, at least if we can set out and play how we want to play in that game and show the rest of the league this is what you're going to be up against, and then the other teams, we're all teams we're capable of beating. We played Man City in our last pre-season game on the weekend and beat them 2-1. So yeah, I think we can definitely do better than last year for sure.
The one thing we haven't mentioned, Freya, is that we're going to play all our home games at Villa Park this year.
yeah.
I think that's got to be an attraction for everybody, and we should start to see the attendances improve as well. What's your gut feeling on it?
It was a strange one because on all of the positives are, you know, this shows the club's commitment to the game. It shows, you know, the longevity of where the women's game is only going to get better. It's only going to keep growing. Our only reservations really were the fact that at Bescott, you know, Bescott wasn't a sellout. Bescott was at best 1,000 that we were getting, maybe a bit more. So the average attendance is there to then go to Villa Park. And we've said before, Villa Park didn't really feel like home, only because the attendances were so small. So you only had half-ish of a stadium. So then any atmosphere was kind of getting lost. So, but from other fans, you know, the more we've spoke about it, it's like, well, actually, this does give us room to grow. Some people are saying it's easier for them to actually get to, especially if you come in direct into Birmingham and you don't want to take another train out to Walsall. So yeah, very mixed reviews, but overall, you can't deny what a fantastic moment it is for the club to say, actually, we're going to merge all together, this one club mentality, and it's going to be the home for both teams moving forward.
What do you think yourself, Emily? Are you happy with the decision?
Yeah, I think, like Freya said, it's the only sort of hold up on it is the attendance, but it's something that you're never going to know unless you try it. You could wait another 4 or 5 years before you did it, and you would probably still be in the same boat with a half full Bescott. But until you open it and say, this is where we're going to be, come along and watch, you're never going to know unless you try. So the fact that the club were willing to try it is great, I think, and you've got to go all for it.
Well, I think the club itself, with all of the financial rulings throughout the men's game, they need to be making use of the stadium that's there. You know, even if they double, treble, quadruple what we're getting currently at the Bescott, it'll make a huge difference to the club's income, and even to get people in around Villa Park spending money. We've got a new fan zone there as well, where people can come early and have a drink and have food and whatever. I know for me personally, I'm definitely going to get to a women's game at Villa Park this year. So I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to the experience of it. It makes complete sense when you see how Arsenal have grown and how Chelsea have grown to sell out their men's stadium, effectively the main stadium of the club. It has to be something we have to strive for. And, when you've got that population of Birmingham on your doorstep, maybe the people of Walsall didn't completely buy into it. But I guess we'll find out as the season progresses. And I think the most important thing is that they brought in the caliber of player that they have now that will hopefully get bums on seats and get more people interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, when we were losing, no one wanted to sit out in the rain at the Bescot when there was 300 of us there just to watch, get hammered 6-0. But it shows you kind of who does show up and who supports and who really goes for it. But you're only ever going to get, the really dedicated, aren't you, in the middle winter at those matches midweek. But hopefully now, when we're on this track, not that you should have to win to get fans, but that's kind of how it works, isn't it? When you attract more people in. So hopefully this is the start of something fantastic. And any of those days where we were feeling a bit, doubting, what the future was going to be, hopefully that's all behind us and we just look forward and look up.
I think the season ticket offering at Villa Park was quite reasonable too. I think it was cheaper than people were expecting. Would that be fair to say, Emily?
Yeah, I think so. I think it worked out at £10 a game, something like that, £10 or £11 it works out at, which is, I mean, if you're just if you're someone that's erring on the side of, I might not go, but it being at Villa Park and being that much is got to be a draw, because it's a chance to go to watch a football match at Villa Park. So that's the other draw of it. And I think, I'm not sure what the other clubs' season ticket prices are, but I would say that's reasonable for where we're at in women's football.
Yeah, but I just think it's a no-brainer for the club. If we got an average of 4,000 or 5,000 people in at £10 a head, they're going to spend £15 or £20 when they're there as well. They're going to buy a program, they're going to buy a drink, they're going to maybe buy a burger, whatever it comes to. We've a huge hospitality offering there as well, and I think like a lot of people, especially men, underestimate how entertaining the women's game is. I would hold my hands up totally and tell you that I only fell in love with the women's game during COVID, when I couldn't leave the house, and I ended up watching everything that Aston Villa had on offer. And it's just, I love the way that the fans can sit side by side. They don't have to segregate. Everybody gets on together. Everybody has fun. They all shake hands at the end. The honesty of the women on the pitch. There's none of the rolling around and pretending that you're really, really injured. It's just refreshing. And it's like watching football of old, as I would put it, like a middle-aged man like me talking about it. Like that. It's like old school football that I miss. But the entertainment value that's there for £10 or £11, I think it's fantastic, and I hope the people of B6 and slightly wider afield do get behind it, because I think it's a huge opportunity for us all to really grow the women's game in Aston Villa. We're getting towards the end of our preview. We'll just look specifically at Chelsea on Friday night. Two very similar situations. Obviously, Chelsea, a really, really strong team, but change of manager. It will be interesting to see. Will there be wholesale changes on the pitch? Will there be a change in tactics and the way they play? Because they are one of the most exciting teams to watch, really, and probably the toughest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've all kind of said, we've got nothing to lose in the best possible sense. So to kind of just go for it, enjoy that opener. And I think we're in the best position ever to go for a draw. Like, I think we might be a bit rose tinted to be like, yeah, we can get a win. I mean, if we do, that's fantastic. Like, I won't ever knock it. But in a really positive position where a draw is possible, and to say that against Chelsea is quite a remarkable thing. So yeah, I mean, as long as the players leave everything out on the pitch, that's all we can ask for when it comes to it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Emily? Are you confident, or what do you predict will happen on Friday night?
I'm confident that we'll play well, if that makes sense. Whether that result, what result that ends up in, I'm not sure, because Chelsea are a formidable team themselves. But I'm confident that we'll put on a good show and that we'll play. Based on what we've seen so far in pre-season, I think the team are playing well together, and I think if we look at the opening match of last season, it sort of was the start of a downward spiral. So I'm hoping if we can put on a good performance, like you said, everyone leave everything out on the pitch, it'll be a kickstart to whatever the result is. It'll be a kickstart to a good season.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the be all and end all if we don't get the result Friday night. I think it'll be a lot about the performance. I don't think anybody's expecting us to go and steamroll Chelsea, given how strong they've been in recent years, and especially last year. But I think we can get excited about what we've created on the pitch, and off the pitch now to have to go and sit in the comfort of Villa Park. And I can't stress it enough. I hope enough people get behind it, because that's how the Aston Villa team will grow and prosper, because once the money is coming in, they'll put the money behind the team. So if you had one thing to say to somebody who misses out on this match day experience, what attracts you the most to go into these games, Emily?
I think you touched on it earlier when you said about the atmosphere at women's games. I haven't been to many men's football matches, but there's less people at the women's game, but you still have that atmosphere and that camaraderie with your fellow Villa fans, and that sense of community. So yeah, you get all of that, and you get to watch some good football.
You'd agree with that, Freya, I take it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it's the banter you can have in women's football as well, where you might be a bit cheeky, might be, a bit, but it's never offensive. It's never, shouting and swearing, getting annoyed. You might get the odd couple. We're not saying it's 100%, swear free, but it's just, on the whole, it's such a positive atmosphere, and you make friends for life. And it's just a phenomenal way to spend your weekends watching the girls play. So yeah. So if anyone wants to try it this season, 100% recommend getting yourself down, because it changes life.
Great stuff. Well, all I can say is thank you so much for your time this evening. We really appreciate it. We hope as a podcast to do this on a weekly basis, and you're more than welcome to come back and join us whenever you feel like talking about Aston Villa. I know there was a great appetite when we put this out on Twitter. So thanks so much for joining us. If you want to just tell everybody where they can find you, if they want to follow you on social media, maybe.
Yeah.
I have a Twitter that's mostly Aston Villa, occasionally not, which is the handle is Sarah of Ember.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and I do, excuse me. So I'm at T Freya T Writes across all socials, mainly football related with that one. Or if you want something more Aston Villa focused, we are at the whole 115 yards, and we do lots of match reports, podcasts, etc. So yeah, come and give us a like and a follow.
Great stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us. As I said, we're going to leave it at that. We hope that we're talking about a great performance, and who knows, maybe even sneak a point or three on Friday night. But I hope everybody gets to see it. It'll be the start of something huge for this season. Thanks again. We're going to leave it at that, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.